What is going on, everyone? Hope all of you are having a wonderful day. Today was the FOMC meeting, and we did talk about a possibility of more dumping in the market, and we actually were followed by that. Bitcoin going as low as $57,000, I believe, and then quickly recovering to then losing everything that we gained. You really can't make any of this up, right? So let's go into the charts and talk about where we started experiencing this. And it was around within this range right here, right? We've experienced this right here. We saw Bitcoin reaching these levels, and then out of nowhere coming in, we saw Bitcoin go as low as $56,000, with then quickly reaching, as the FOMC meeting was getting hyped up, a push squeeze to $59,000 Bitcoin, trying to retempt the zone one more time at around the $58,000 range, quickly losing it as the Fed ended up, I guess, I don't want to say bearish things, but I guess it didn't excite the market after all towards the end, right? It's like we came in straight in with the heat. People were excited within the first like 15 minutes, and as the FOMC meeting continued towards the end is when a little bit of bearishness came into the market, right? So I don't know why my camera is not focusing. It's maybe my background. Let me go ahead and change my background. We're gonna do some green, right? All right, we'll get some green going up in here. So let me go ahead and check if we are officially live. I'm assuming we are officially live, but let me just go ahead and double confirm that on my phone. So let me go ahead and pull up the live stream on the phone. Yeah, so it looks like we are officially live. Awesome. So let me go ahead and just start sharing the stream. And in the meantime, we get some people showing up to the live stream as well. Before we go in further into some important technical analysis, in my opinion, I still do believe this $85,000 short squeeze is still very possible for Bitcoin. Now, we're obviously going to go ahead and analyze that today on today's live stream and see if we are still for that $85,000 squeeze. Go ahead and feel free to join my free Discord down below in the description. You could go ahead and literally reach out to me and let me know any opinions or give me some alpha on any place. Let me go ahead and share this with my group on Twitter. Awesome. So we'll go ahead and give it about 30 more seconds while I take a sip of my energy drink. I literally just woke up, man. You know, I've been telling all of you that I've been having these terrible allergies. Like right now, it's like been pretty bad. I just woke up from a nap, so I was expecting to live stream a lot sooner, but you know, I knocked out for like 2 hours, and right now I'm taking my dubby, so it's kind of like caffeine to wake me up, right? So I should be up and running for another couple hours. Hopefully this thing could go ahead and take me through the whole entire stream, and as well make some content later on today. So let's go into the charts. So Bitcoin right now at the fear and greed, we are at the 40 level. Fear sentiment, we've actually haven't reached these levels in quite a while. We've been at overly greedy territories these last couple months, and I can't remember exactly when we approached the fear level at 43. I'm not sure if I could check over here, which I could have sworn it probably was. It hasn't been a while though, and that's what I'm pretty confident that we haven't reached the fearful levels in a minute. I haven't seen fear in a while. Like I remember last time we saw the fear, it was, I believe it was during the ETF when everybody wanted to short Bitcoin at 40,000, and I mentioned to everybody that there was a high probability of a short squeeze. And that's kind of where we're at right now, right? So if I could remember correctly, that might have been the last time I saw fear come in, and then it quickly went ahead and it pivoted back to the greed territory within like probably a week. It wasn't in fear for that long. So I'm wondering if people are gonna buy up this dip, or they're just in fearful territory, just due to the fact that a lot of people got wrecked. If we go ahead and take a look at the liquidation map, I was actually entering some short positions on Bitcoin until I got stopped out of my positions. Back over here, within this time frame, if I could remember correctly, I think I started entering shorts on Bitcoin like around this $57,000 range, and I literally just rode the wave right here. I literally entered a short right here on Bitcoin. I remember. No, this is May 1st, so it wasn't May 1st. I take that back. It was probably back over here. It was like back over here a few days ago. It was probably like the 28th, 27th, something like that. But I think it was like somewhere around this range where I entered a short on Bitcoin, and literally all these longs got triggered and got stopped out of their position. Yeah, this, I think it was like right here where I entered it. And literally it went down very quickly. Now it's because it liquidated millions of dollars of longs. So this is the reason why we've been seeing a lot of volatility in the market. It's not that people are selling or getting scared, is that people are getting stopped out and liquidated out of their positions, right? And that's why you have to understand, in my opinion, when it comes to leverage trading in general, not just really leverage trading, but how the market does have areas of stop losses, take profits, and also how triggers of liquidations really affect the market, right? For the bullish sentiment and for the bearish sentiment. And that's kind of the reason why I believe there's a high probability that we could be seeing an $85,000 Bitcoin. And you're like, John, that just sounds pretty crazy, right? Well, I'm going to go ahead and show you right now into the chart on the heat map where a lot of short liquidations will get triggered, stopped out into their position, and the same movement you saw right here when Bitcoin was falling very, very quickly, we could go ahead and see that movement reverse very fast. And in my opinion, if anything, really, really quickly in the next coming week. So be prepared. As I mentioned, I've been the biggest bear when it has come to Bitcoin, but I told all of you that you need to keep and stay informed of what the market is giving us as far as information, right? You never want to go ahead and go based off what you want or what you want to hear or how you feel. You want to go based off what the market is telling you of sentiment, right? I'm not saying that you can't feel bearish right now and say, hey, John, like I'm shorting right now because why wouldn't I? And I completely understand, and it totally would make sense also to open shorts and possibly even see Bitcoin come down even lower. I'm not saying it can't, right? And this is the thing that we all have to understand, that we have to be very, very patient when it comes to opening positions or trades. It actually looks like it actually triggered. It's very close to triggering my short position if I wanted to take a short on Bitcoin. But I did mention these last couple days there was a high probability we'll see Bitcoin retest these levels as a fake out, and we still are forming that inverse head and shoulders pattern, which is a bullish reversal pattern, right? So I do believe we could be seeing Bitcoin reverse probably by the end of the week. So by Friday, Saturday, we should have an understanding of where Bitcoin's going. It looks like we did just went ahead and triggered a fake out to go ahead and stop people out of their positions for a liquidity grab for that quick reversal to the upside, right? So right now, Bitcoin's not looking extremely bearish, nor it's looking extremely bullish. It's still in a neutral levels. I did mention to a lot of you on yesterday's stream, if we were to see Bitcoin fall below this area right here and close below it with a full candlestick, like I don't want to see a half or like a in-between candlestick like that, right? I want to see a full-on candlestick close underneath this $57,000 range, and then potentially try to retest this area one more time. And if it gets rejected, that'd be a confirmation that Bitcoin will be going lower, and we could be retesting that $51,000 range, right? And to me, even within this $51,000 range, I don't even think that's a very strong area of support. So if we were to come down to these levels, in my opinion, there's a high probability Bitcoin could be coming back down to these levels at around $41,000 or $42,000, right? So we are at very critical areas of the market. I do not want to go ahead and sit here and tell you that it's looking great for Bitcoin. Bitcoin's still neutral. I don't really see anything that's out the norm. I mean, I've literally called this exact move. You know, if you guys have been watching me these last couple of days on the stream on my channel, I am fairly brand new to the channel, but if you guys have been following me these last 2 weeks, you guys should be aware of everything about this market. We've literally been talking about it. We've been the first to literally predict. I don't want to say the first because I'm sure probably other YouTubers or traders have talked about this, and they have, but I've literally almost like drawn line to line of what we could be expecting. I told all of you, be careful. FOMC meeting tomorrow, possibility of a fake out with a lot of volatility. Wait for the end of the week for us to get a clear understanding of how the market is feeling, right? So right now, Bitcoin hasn't still printed for me like an extremely bearish territory. As I mentioned, we are seeing the fear in the market, but if we go back to what we saw in the ETF, it's the same exact thing, like literally the same exact thing, back to back, the same exact pattern before we saw that breakout, and we saw Bitcoin squeeze all the way up to $72,000+. And during my other channel around January, I told all of you around this. I told you all about this right here. I told all of you, be on the lookout for Bitcoin squeezing to $70,000 Bitcoin. And a lot of people were denying it. People were like, John, you're crazy. Bitcoin's going to $10,000. It's crashing. It's done. And I'm like, bro, I'm giving you the reasons why we're going to go ahead and see these ranges. And then yet people still question where things are going to go. It's very clear to predict these markets, right? Especially with all this data that we have. And the thing that we had back here during the ETF talk is that we had a lot of shorts getting also liquidated, and that's the reason why we saw that very quick run up to the upside. And it's very, very similar. I mean, look at this chart. It's a consolidation, fake out to the bottom, liquidity grab, quick reversal, money grab. Same thing that's going on right here. If we get rid of all these lines right here, because this is still in this bullish flag pattern, in my opinion, same exact thing, consolidation, fake out, liquidity grab. And that's exactly what we're seeing right here. Consolidation tries to make new all-time highs, fake out, short down to the bottom, liquidity grab, and then quickly reverses. So that's the thing, that by the time most retail traders or most people are jumping into the market, they're getting wrecked. Like, most people are probably going to be opening up shorts right now at this moment, and they're more than likely going to get wrecked. And the reason why is because based on this chart alone, and I'm going to go ahead and give you both neutral standpoints. Like I mentioned, I don't think Bitcoin is going to dump to these levels. I could be wrong. We're going to go ahead and see by the end of the week, but I'm more pushing towards a narrative that we're going to see this inverse head and shoulders pattern. As I mentioned, it's very clear what we're seeing. It doesn't mean it's going to happen, right? But I'm showcasing that this is a high probability, in my opinion, based on what we're seeing overall with the market, right? But before we get overall with the market, let's go ahead and switch over to the Bitcoin heat map so you could understand why my prediction of this is it's possible and what we could see if Bitcoin does continue to dump, right? Looking at CoinGlass, we do see the BTC liquidation heat map. Right here it tells us there is quite a bit of longs getting liquidated at around 56,345, which is about $39 million just alone on Binance, right? This is just alone on Binance. You could look at multiple charts on different exchanges on where most longs are going to be triggered. So keep that in mind. Right now we're looking at Binance because that's like one of the top exchanges, right? So quite a bit of money is around the money grab at around the 56,354, right? So meaning there could be a possibility we could see Bitcoin, and as you see, it looks like we might have actually triggered it. Did we trigger it? Let's see how low we went. No. So we're close to triggering it. So the longs will get liquidated around roughly like around within this range right here. So literally it's like 1 centimeter, like it's very it's like very slightly underneath it that it would go ahead and get wrecked. Here, let me go ahead and pull out this this tool. What's going on with my tools? Okay, here you go. It's like literally right here within this range. I don't know why my freaking tools are not working. My chart's tripping. What's going on with this? Let me refresh it. Okay, there you go. Now it shows up. That's weird. Okay, so this is literally where shorts will go ahead and longs will get stopped out of their positions within this range right here. So keep that in mind. This is all it has to do is literally touch that little line right there underneath, and a lot of freaking longs will get stopped out of their positions, right? So we're also very close, and we could potentially even see Bitcoin slightly dump very quickly and have a flash crash where we just dump all the way down probably to $50,000 and then just see a massive reversal to the upside, right? So just be very, very careful if you do go ahead and see that. Do not panic. This is the reason why I'm mentioning you have to be aware of these liquidity grabs on the heat map to understand where it's coming. And like I mentioned, this is just Binance alone. I don't know where these other exchanges the liquidity grabs are going to be at, but that's from the long perspective, right? And you're like, John, what about that $85,000 Bitcoin, right? Well, check this out. There's a good amount of shorts getting liquidated out of 57,953 on the price of Bitcoin. About 33 million will get liquidated. So that's about 57,953. That's about almost at around 5,800. So roughly it will take us, I said 57 what? 57,953. So let's just say 5,800. 57,983. Let's go into the smaller time frames. Okay, it's literally right here, man. 57,983 is about. It just, what a coincidence is within our resistance, man. There's no coincidence to any of this. So literally for the shorts to get liquidated is within this range, and all Bitcoin needs to do is do a move of 0.60 and it will trigger literally over $33 million of shorts will get liquidated, and that is just solely on Binance exchange, right? So keep that in mind. It's literally a 0.60 away from triggering a lot of freaking a lot of shorts getting liquidated, as opposed to the longs. There would have to be some sort of Bitcoin correction of about 3%. Not saying it's not possible, but the chances of that happening, it would really have to push the market to the downside. And as we see, we're in this reversal right here. Not saying we can go ahead and get rejected and come back down to these zones, but the probabilities of Bitcoin possibly pushing to the upside even higher are a lot higher than Bitcoin pushing a lot lower. So there's a higher chance of shorts getting liquidated out of their positions as opposed to longs, right? So as I mentioned, we're not that far away from liquidating over $33 million worth of freaking shorts, and that is solely on the Binance Smart Chain. Now imagine where these other trigger points are for the other exchanges, right? So keep that in mind. Obviously, as we start to break through this zone, it's going to get a lot easier for us to go ahead and have that full-on market reversal that everybody's expecting. I probably won't be too bullish on Bitcoin until we see this range being broken and held pretty well. I want to see Bitcoin hold $58,000 and above before we can go ahead and talk about Bitcoin being fully bullish. But we are also seeing the RSI getting ready to cross, right? As soon as we get that cross, we're more than likely going to just kind of skyrocket. If we do go ahead and get rejected, our area of support for Bitcoin will take us at around the 56,700, and we could be seeing that push down to the downside. And to me, that falling below this this square right here, and we close depending on the volume and how the market's reacting, that's going to give us more of a sign that Bitcoin's top has already been reached, and we are now pivoting into that cycle into altcoin / meme coin season, right? So we're going to talk about meme tokens right now on Base. They're doing pretty well, right? They're actually, they actually liked what we heard today on the FOMC meeting, which I do have a quick little walkthrough of what the FOMC meeting was about. I wrote some notes, so we'll go ahead and talk about that right now. So the Bitcoin, to me, doesn't surprise me and shouldn't surprise any of you, because we've been talking about this these last couple days. Also, looking at the 4-hourly chart, we do see the RSI has been getting rejected, but it looks like a possible cup and handle pattern with the reversal pushing to the upside. So I'm seeing more upside on Bitcoin than downside, in my opinion. I feel like the bottom is near. I do not want to say the bottom is finally in, but it does look like the bottom is coming. If this is not the bottom is near. Like I mentioned, there could be a possibility we dump back down to the zone right here, but in my opinion, this would be quite bearish within this range right here. But don't be surprised if we were to see a flash crash where it quickly grabs some liquidity down and then quickly reverses back up. And that's kind of the problem that we see with when it comes to these liquidity grabs, is just really just to stop out a lot of people and grab as much liquidity as possible for these market makers. So overall, Bitcoin right now is not looking too bullish, too bearish. It's looking neutral in my opinion. We obviously have to go ahead and look at how the DXY is performing and how the stock market did. Looking at the stock market, it looked like they also didn't like what they heard towards the end of the FOMC meeting. But we're going to go ahead and talk about that right now, right? So how's it going, Steve? Hope you're having a good one. Try some localized honey for your allergies. I appreciate it, man. Yeah, I've been hearing that. People have been telling me I got to try that for the allergies. Really definitely have to go ahead and give that a try. So that's what we're seeing. Hope you're having a good one, Steve. Hope you're having a good day today, bro. But that's what we're seeing right now currently for Bitcoin. Now, moving forward, we're going to go ahead and talk about what's going on with the DXY. So looking at the DXY right now, as we expected, the same levels of consolidation, and it's just really roaming around this range. As I mentioned, we could probably retest this 107.313 and stay there for a while, but I don't see major things going on for the DXY. As I mentioned, the DXY is getting close to also having a correction, so we're kind of destined for an upside in crypto, regardless of what people want to say. The charts are telling us that crypto has to go ahead and show some bullishness, right? It looks like our correction will be over very, very soon. So it's just a matter of time, right? Because we did see the DXY right here consolidate within this range for about roughly, it took us about a 33-day consolidation before we started seeing that breakdown to the downside, and we started reaping the rewards, right? And what we're seeing right now for the DXY, we've been consolidating within this range for about 20 days, and it took us about 30 days right here, depending on where you're counting, right? It took us about 20-30 days to consolidate within this range before we got rejected, and depending on where you're looking at, right? If I'm looking at from that angle, it's about 20 days. If I go ahead and check it out from this side over here all the way to this, that's about 33 days. So we're around the same levels right now where the DXY consolidated before seeing a breakdown to the downside, and this is where crypto started making and printing a lot of money. This is where I started positioning myself in a lot of positions in the market, because I saw the DXY entering this range of resistance, and this is where I started loading up on a lot of positions, on long positions on leverage, right? So this is where a lot of money's being made very, very easily if you enter the market at the right time. With that being said, we are seeing something very similar. It doesn't mean it's going to happen, but even looking at the other indicator at the RSI, as we talked about, the RSI doesn't have much room to go. I mean, more than likely it could push a little bit higher and it's going to go ahead and get rejected, right? So the DXY as well doesn't have much room to go up anymore. It will be reaching those overextended territories, so it has to come down no matter what happens, unless this gets over, like worst comes to worst, we get a peak like this where the DXY does dance around this range for a little bit longer. But the DXY doesn't have much room to go, right? In order for the DXY to continue to even go up, it has to retrace. So you have to keep in mind that everything that goes up in the market has to eventually come down, and vice versa, right? So in order for the dollar to go ahead and continue to go up higher, we need to go ahead and see a retest within the zone, or at least consolidate within the zone, come back down, you know, play around these zones for a while, let Bitcoin or crypto do its thing, and then we're going to come back to these zones with more strength. And that's what the T is all about, right? That's what it's telling you. I'm not saying it has to happen that way, but it needs to happen that way in order for the dollar to even go up if it wants to, right? Can we have some news where it just breaks through resistance like nothing and we're just super overextended? Super possible. but I wouldn't see that happening no more than within this range right here. You know, worst comes to worst, we see the dollar do some sort of move where it does, let's just say worst news, something happens where it pushes the dollar to the 109, it does retest this area of resistance, and then it comes back down, and it just stays within the zone right here. It comes back down, probably consolidates, and then just reverses, and then has enough strength to go back up, right? But it would just make sense for the DXY to kind of consolidate right here, come back down, and potentially do that reversal with so much strength where the DXY will be pushing towards that 110 and above, which is not good, right? So either way, the DXY is doing good for us, in my opinion. Taking a look at the US 100 right now, we did see that the US 100, I was expecting some sort of reversal right here, but it's not. So that is a little bit concerning. It's not full-on concerning. I'd be a little bit more concerned if we do lose this area of support at around 16,911. But this is not looking good for the US 100. I'm going to be honest with you. So the US 100 is telling us otherwise. This could go ahead and hold the support and then retest the zone right here, which is going to be extremely bullish, and it would give us an indicator that we have now officially broken from this downtrend that we have been in, right? So that would be a good sign. But the US 100, it's at very critical areas too, right? So we're seeing a lot, Bitcoin, the DXY, the US 100 at very critical areas right now to make a decision of where things are going. That's why I mentioned expect this week to be very, very volatile, and give it some time. But overall, the meme tokens are doing freaking well, man. We're gonna talk about the meme tokens right now. I mean, there's some meme tokens that did pretty well today, right? So we're gonna go ahead and talk about, now that we've talked about what I believe to be important with this liquidation and Bitcoin. Now let's go ahead and talk about what happened with the FOMC meeting, right? So with the FOMC meeting, the Fed is it's going to keep their funds at pretty much the same rate, right? So they're just trying to maintain it within that 5.25 and 5.50. Fed continues reducing holdings of U.S. Treasury securities and mortgage-backed securities. So it looks like they're slightly reducing, cutting down, but I do expect a lot of buying coming in very soon as well. Solid economic expansion with strong gains of low unemployment. Some BS, man. It's like you can't really sit here and listen to someone that's full of BS, right? So it was an interesting freaking meeting. It's like we kind of figured a lot of this was going to happen. I didn't talk about this publicly, but I did talk about this with my mentor, and I did mention that, you know, we were probably going to go ahead and stay neutral. What the Fed's going to be doing is just holding on to this position of where we're at. Pretty much what they said on today's meeting is that they're going to do whatever it takes to get us back to this 2% inflation. Future rate adjustments depend on incoming data and inflation trends, focusing on achieving the sustained 2%. So they're really trying to get us back to that 2%. When people ask, you know, when are we going to go ahead and do that move? They said we're more than likely not going to be seeing any rate cuts until around September, October. So within that Q4 range is when we should be expecting some sort of rate cut. And they said it's a possibility, maybe, who knows. They didn't want to give a straight answer, and they said the reason being is because they really don't know what's going to happen. They can't predict the future. So in other words, they're just going with the flow, and they're going to do whatever it takes in order to achieve that 2% inflation back again. But you have to keep in mind, apparently, you know, right now we're at low unemployment numbers, strong gains of jobs, supposedly all this BS, which, you know, you and I, you know, friend of friend, both know that it's not true, right? But that's what the Fed is saying, and they're expected to proceed to cut if needed. And cuts will occur in 2024 to 2025. So as I mentioned, they're not looking to go ahead and cut any rates until Q4 of 2024. Leading into 2025, we could be expecting multiple cut rates that year. So we're going to see where things are going. As I mentioned, we just have to go ahead and stay neutral and see where things are heading, especially with this huge presidential selection that we have coming in October, September. So fingers crossed that the market does not top in at around September, October, because I would say that was a pretty quick bull run, man. But also, it would kind of make sense based on what we've seen in the past with how the market reacts, right? I don't think the market will be over yet. I'm thinking if the market was to be completely done with, I'm giving it until March or April of 2025. I would say that would be the top of the market. I would gladly be exiting a lot of my positions within quarter four. We're still at around quarter, I think we might be on quarter two, man, or three. I don't know. I think we might be quarter two, right? Let's see. So we just entered. We're in May. Wait, what? Dude, what month are we? We're in April, May. We're in May now. Okay, so we're in May. I think this is the last quarter before we go into Q3, right? Yeah. Okay, I was. Let's see. April, May, June. Okay, so we're in the second quarter right now. I'm already like going ahead of myself, right? So we're still in Q2. That's from April to June. So this is the first quarter of quarter two. So we still have about 2 more months left, including May, for the second quarter of the year to be over. And then we're going to be pivoting into Q3, July, September, and in Q4 within October, December. So they're talking about some sort of rate cut being within the range of September, October. That's within, towards the end of Q3, coming into Q4. It's going to be really interesting what's going to happen. I mean, it's going to be a very, very volatile year. I could say that. So we're going to see where things are going, but I don't think we will probably be seeing some sort of market correction, in my opinion, until 2025 of around March. And there could be a possibility we could have the market kind of shifting towards around early 2025. Because if we remember with Bitcoin, back when everybody was bullish, and we're going to go ahead and look at this chart really quickly before we start looking and talking about meme coins, right? But we were talking about Bitcoin. If a lot of you remember back in around November, I think it was around within this range right here. It was right here. Okay, so this is what happened right here with Bitcoin. So it looks like Bitcoin, I might be slightly exaggerating. We still might have a lot of room left, but it's always good to be aware of a market coming to an end, right? Because the market has been printing these last couple months. Since literally of January of 2023, we have been printing, right? We've been in this whole entire printing machine all of 2023 as we've been seeing Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies do that reversal into the market. So we still have a lot of room left, in my opinion. We still have a lot of room left for the market. But do keep in mind that we also have to be prepared and be aware of the market coming to an end, just in order for us to be prepared. We're not going to go ahead and time exactly the top or bottom, but I do believe we could even see Bitcoin come back down to this $40,000 range or whatever the case is, and then coming back up to these ranges. So I think the top for Bitcoin will be within this range right here. And it might sound a little bit crazy, but looking at Bitcoin where we're at right now, that would only give us about an additional 2x. That would take Bitcoin at around $180,000 to $200,000, which it's super, super realistic. It's not abnormal. So I know the number 180 or 200,000 seems pretty wild, but in reality, it's really not, right? So we do have to talk about this because we have to be aware of when we have to be making that pivot, right? So right now we still have, a couple months left of the market, in my opinion, as I mentioned, leading into March or 2025 around February, March, because if we see this right here, what happened during the scandemic of 2020, we see Bitcoin found its bottom at around March, and this is where a lot of stocks also found its bottom, right? We then saw Bitcoin go from these low ranges of around $60,000 or $6,000, touching all the way as high as $63,000, right? And as we saw Bitcoin correct within this range right here, we saw it come back down, retest from $64,000, come back down to that $35,000 range. And then we saw Bitcoin attempt to break that new all-time high one last time, and as soon as we saw that, we got rejected, and then that's where the bear market happened. We saw this double top happen, right? So if we were to say that something similar like this was to happen, we have to go ahead and keep into consideration we have already slightly broken above this all-time high. We're still hovering around it, still getting a lot of rejection, but we're also getting a lot of support within these ranges, right? So if you go ahead and look at where Bitcoin's top in the past, back in 2017, we saw that as soon as Bitcoin broke this resistance at around when Bitcoin hit $17,000, and this is where Bitcoin was at around $6,000 to $7,000. We then saw that full-on breakout for Bitcoin at around that $17,000 to $19,000 range, and that's when we quickly saw Bitcoin run up to new all-time highs, right? So as soon as we go ahead and get a full-on candle where we break above it, similar to like what we saw right here back in the bottom of 2017 and 2020, we still have a few months left, because before Bitcoin corrected, we were at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 months, 7 months if you were to call it, once we did see that breakout. So depending on where we're at right now on Bitcoin, and we do see that that breakout at around that range, we could go ahead and say roughly we still have about anywhere between 7 to 8 months, and I'm predicting that there's a possibility we could be pushing to 14 months this bull run, and that's just due to the presidential selection, right? If any good news comes out of that, I think the bull market will be extended, and that's what everybody's kind of hoping for, right? So if we were to go ahead and do that, that will take us within that range. I mean, that would take us from, we're at June, July, August, September, October, November, December, January. That would take us into the 7-month period. So that would mean that 2025 would be the possible top for the market. But keep that in mind. What we did see was we saw Bitcoin top off right here 2021. So from 2020 to 2021, we saw new all-time highs being made. We saw Bitcoin drop back down about 50% in January. And then the year of 2021, that same year after it made new all-time highs, we saw Bitcoin get rejected, right? So that would mean that what we would be looking at would be Bitcoin breaking towards making new all-time highs. Let's say it's $120,000, let's call it. Then it drops 50%. People rebuy the dip, and then it pushes it up to the upside one last time, and then Bitcoin just dumps, possibly back to, you know, within that $40,000-$50,000 range, and that's the top of the market, right? So we'll see where things go. It's very, very interesting. But with that being said, we still have a few months left for this bull run, right? So I guess that's a good sign. Now let's go ahead and make this pivot into meme tokens, right? Because I think it's very important to understand where the market is heading at and where the market will be going in the future. Because the moment you're not aware of what's going on, you're going to be caught slipping in the market. And that's what you definitely do not want to happen. You don't want the market to just come out of nowhere, slap you right across the face, and then be like, damn, dude, I got left holding the bag. That was me last bull run. Not only did I get in at the top, but I was not aware of what I know now. And after I got wrecked, I told myself that would never happen to me again, right? So I'm really looking deep dive into the market literally 24/7. Why? Because I want to make sure I don't go through the same pain that I went through last bull run. And I'm sure a lot of you could relate. Without me having to go into deep details, a lot of you could relate if you went in last bull run or just got in last bull run, or if this is your first time being in the market. You have to understand that the market doesn't go on forever. You could be making a lot of money right now, but trust me, that will come to an end. And when it comes to an end, if you did not mentally prepare for that switch, mentally, physically, financially, you're going to get wrecked, and you're going to be in so much pain for possibly years, where it'll take you forever to recover from that, right? I'm still recovering barely from what I went through back on last bull run, right? So that's already a little bit over 2 years, I think. So that I'm already in the process of 2-3 years of trying to recover for what I worked for my whole entire life early on. And then I lost everything in 2021 or 2020, whenever the bull run was last season. And I lost everything that I worked for down the drain because I didn't know any of this, right? I didn't know any of this. So after going through that pain and seeing how I had everything and lost everything in every way possible, financially, spiritually, mentally, physically, I told myself I would never go through that again. And now that's the reason why I look at these charts literally every day, 24/7. Why? Because I want to prepare myself for opportunities. I want to prepare myself to make that pivot. And you have to also understand you could be making money shorting the market. So if we do time the top on Bitcoin or a lot of these assets, if we're able to make this move, we could also go ahead and short the market and make a lot of money on the way down. And it's actually a lot easier to make money shorting, in my opinion, because when it goes down, people panic. People have the tendency to quickly lose their mind and sell or get wrecked when they're seeing a lot of pain in the market, right? So it comes down very, very quickly as opposed to how it comes up. It's like a roller coaster. I always explain to people. It's a roller coaster. It's like when you're going on a roller coaster, it takes you forever to go up, because you're going against freaking literally, I guess, gravity. I don't know what you're going against with, but you're going against some sort of pressure that's taking us longer to go up. But the moment we come down, we come sliding very down. We come sliding very fast, very, very quickly, like a slide, right? So that's why we have to be prepared and aware of what's going on in the market, right? It's not to go ahead and push any fear. We have to always be aware of these situations, so when these opportunities present themselves, we know how to react to the market. There's a reason why I'm very calm, right? Because I've been telling a lot of you these last couple of days what we will be seeing in the market, and it shouldn't be to no surprise. Right now you're like, John, well, how are the meme tokens doing? Well, the meme tokens are doing pretty well, man. Andy is holding within this range of around $19 million market cap. It looks like right now we are forming this area of support within this resistance, which is a good sign, right? That means that of our next run up, if we do see, Andy run up to this 20 cents mark, in my opinion, which from a measuring tape or the freaking whatever you want to call it, the ruler, that will take us to a 9 to 10x. So realistically, Andy hitting 20 cents could be in the next coming weeks. It could be next week. It could be tomorrow. It could be tonight. It could be any time, and that's the beauty I love about meme tokens. And right now with what we're seeing in the market, I like to see that these communities that we've been talking about have been taking advantage of buying the dip and growing. We see Andy right here at 22.71 thousand holders. We're about to break that 23. It was literally a few weeks ago we were at 12,000 holders, chat. 12,000 holders. I've been talking about Andy for a while, and there's still plenty of room left. People always ask me, John, should I go ahead and buy into these tokens? And I'm like, dude, do whatever you want. I'm betting on them. I'm just showing you what I'm doing. You could go ahead and decide to follow the lead, or you could go ahead and decide to just sit on the sideline and watch. And, if it pays off really well, I hope, you have other plays to make it up, but I don't know any other information that you might think that I have access to. I don't know anything about Andy, you know what I mean? I'm not in touch with the team. I have no insider information. I freaking wish I did, man, because if I did have insider information, I'll figure out a way to gather and come up with a GoFundMe and gather $100,000. We could throw this together and be a guaranteed that we'll make 10 million plus, right? But understanding communities and understanding the narrative of base chain, it's bullish enough for me, right? All it takes is a little bit of research to understand how bullish base chain is. And you're going to remember this for all those that are not, and I hope all of you watching the channel are exposed to base chain. because I promise you, you guys will regret not jumping in. You will regret not learning how to jump into base, figuring out how to dabble into base meme tokens. You're going to regret it. And I'm telling you this because I regretted not jumping into Solana early on back in November. That happened to me once. It's not going to happen to me twice. I'm telling you, I'm the kind of person that I like to question a lot of things, analyze a lot of these things. And when they go against me, I like to figure out what I did wrong, how can I improve, how can I become better, and how can I not miss that next opportunity, right? And what I'm showing you right now, it's Solana. I've been bullish on Solana for the longest, right? But I was never exposed to Solana because I never really understood the value behind Solana. Like, I knew it was hyped. I knew Solana was going to go to like $500. And I was talking about it back when it was like $10, but I was waiting for Solana to, come back down to $4. Never did. The lowest it went down to was $8, and I was hoping to scoop up Solana at around $4, and that would have been a perfect entry. But what I've realized too, it's sometimes when a chain's gonna do very well, your best bet is dollar cost averaging. Looking at the monthly right now in Solana, it shows us there's a possibility Solana could be reaching $12 to $2,000 this bull run, right? Maybe at the top it maybe only hits 1,300, but regardless of the fact, it's at 130. That's still another 10x, depending on where you're buying, right? So what I'm telling you is, the reason why I'm showing you this chart, look at base as if you had the early opportunity to buy into Solana. Like, if you knew Solana was going to do this, I could guarantee all of you would probably figure out a way to go get some money, borrow from friends and families. I don't know. I'm not endorsing this, but I'm saying, like, if you knew something was 100% going to 10x your money or 5x your money, wouldn't you go ahead and do whatever it takes to go ahead and look for money? This thing literally did a 26x, almost a 30x. Solana did. If you knew you were 100% guaranteed, no risk, able to make a 30x on the return of your money, all you had to do is just wait a few months, you would go ahead and figure out a way to get some money, right? Probably borrow some money from friends. I don't know. Take out a loan. I don't know. Not advocating that because it's super, super risky. If we all knew something was going to go up 100%, I'm sure we would all do it, right? But the reason why I'm telling you this is that I really underestimated Solana. I underestimated it a lot. And it was because, personally, I didn't like Solana. I always saw Solana as a flaw, and I still see Solana as an overhyped blockchain with, I don't want to say no real utility. It has utility. There's obviously people that enjoy it, but I don't think Solana is the one that's going to solve the problems of gas fees. I think that's going to be Base, in my opinion. And knowing what I know now, and I'm like, damn, I wish I would have started dabbling into, DeFi on Solana within this range right here. I missed it. So I told myself, I need to look for the next opportunity, the next blockchain that would give me the opportunity of Solana, right? Well, guess what? Base came along, and I feel like Base right now is within this range right here, and if not, maybe even right here, where you're still early on to the game of Base. This is Base right here, in my opinion. We could probably even be back over here, but we could just say safely we're within this range right here where it has received a lot of exposure. There's still a lot of doubt in it where people are like, I don't know, it's pretty cool, it's hyped, but no one's really talking about it as much. Once people start adapting to Base and Coinbase makes their whole entire wallet a lot easier for retail to come in, that's when all these tokens that we're invested in are going to do very, very well. I see Andy minimum doing at least, I think we could literally reach, no hype, a 1 billion market cap. Am I gonna diamond hand to 1 billion market cap? Probably not. I'll probably take some profits when I think it's time. I haven't taken profits on Andy. I've been holding Andy since within this range over here back in March. I got in like at Andy back over here, and I've been holding on to it since, and I've been dollar cost averaging. This next run up that we will have with Andy, I would be making a very nice bag that I would take some profits if I need to. And the reason why I'm saying that is because I do believe that as Andy starts to pump, we will be having more opportunities of new base tokens coming into the scene, and also other base tokens we've been looking at. So if I was to make a nice little bag on Andy, which all I really need is for Andy to do a 5 or 10x, and I've already made a decent bag. Not life-changing money, but it's definitely money. I would recover my losses that I made so far this bull run with my Andy, my Benny position. And that was because I was willing to take the risk early on and learn about base. Right now with Andy, as I mentioned, the reason why I'm telling you this, I started with a very small bag, right? Very, very small bag, couple $100. My bag at its all-time high was at a couple grand. My bag, when it hits literally another 5 to 10x, is going to be at a really decent amount of money. Some decent amount of money. Not crazy money, not life-changing money. But just put it this way, I probably would have enough money to buy like a Honda, a 2024 Honda cash type of money. You know what I mean? Nothing too crazy. And Hondas are kind of expensive now, man. Especially in this year. It's not life-changing money, right? But that was money I was able to turn from a couple $100 to a couple grand, which is not too bad. And then the goal is, once you do that, now you have more capital to deploy into these other tokens that might be coming up within that time frame as well. This is the reason why I have a whole entire watch list, right? I'm looking at projects of how they're acting, how they're reacting, how the community's doing. You might have to go ahead and buy at a higher market cap, but if the community's bullish, it doesn't matter. You know, would you buy Pepe at 19 million market cap? I know a lot of people thought it was expensive. A lot of people thought Pepe was done. A lot of people think Pepe's already done, right? Pepe's going to hit very high market caps when retail starts pouring in. Imagine when Pepe gets listed on Robinhood. I heard it's already enabled in some countries, not for the US. So imagine when the US enables Pepe on Robinhood, bro. That's going to be like a Doge 2.0 again, man. Remember Doge on the SNL when it hit 70 cents? Just remember those flashbacks if you were in the market last bull run, right? And what I'm trying to tell you is that you could literally risk very little money right now and make a couple grand and flip that money and get to the bigger projects. You know, you could start off with $500, $200, $300, make a 10x. I always tell people when it comes to trading, especially leverage trading, it's very difficult to make money if you're trading with anything under $1,000. You have to take a bigger risk, and your reward's not always so good, right? Your reward, you have to hope that your $100 hits a 10x or a 20x to have some decent money coming in, right? That's what I always tell people. Once you hit that first 1,000, it's so much easier to make money in crypto. Like once you hit your bag and you're trading, whether it's leverage trading or your meme coin trading, once you get to that $1,000 mark, it's so much easier to make money from there. Literally, you're printing money from there. And the reason why is because with a lot of these meme tokens, all you have to risk is $100 to $300, and you can make a couple grand. You can literally make 10, 20 grand, 15 grand, 8 grand, 5 grand out of like $100 to $300. You know, now when you're going into the ranges of $800 to $1,000, keep in mind, if you put in $1,000 into a meme token, all it needs to do for you at a 5x, it's already 5 grand. A 10x, that's already 10 grand. A 20x, that's already 20 grand, right? So it's so much easier for you to hit 20 grand, 30 grand if you're playing with when you have a higher risk, right? When you're throwing in $800, $600, $1,000 per trade, as opposed to throwing $60, $100, and hoping that you could turn that into like 100x. I mean, this alone on Andy has done pretty well already for a lot of people, right? As I mentioned, I didn't catch it too early on. I caught it back, as I mentioned, back. Oh, this is on log, so let me go ahead and take it off. I caught Andy like back over here. So it's not that much, and like I said, I've been dollar cost averaging a lot of these into my position. So that's slightly like about a 10x into my position that I've done so far, which took me a while. If you measure this time, it has taken me about 28 days to 10x my money. It's not too bad, actually. 28 days to 10x my money. That's how long it has taken me to go ahead and 10x my money. 28 days, so about a month to 10x the money that I put into it. Obviously, I took some hits on some other plays, so I've lost money, not with the Andy money, but I did lose money investing and spreading my money in different projects. Luckily, I hit it pretty well with Benny and Andy. And that's what I'm trying to tell you. You need to go ahead and consider, like, as long as you're jumping into these projects, you're looking at the charts pretty well, the community's growing, you're seeing a volume increase, you know, the narrative is really hot. You see that people will relate to it in some sort, or like it because it's cute or cool or whatever the case is. That's really where the money starts coming in, right? If you were to go ahead and throw in $1,000 right here, if you had that appetite to risk $1,000, that would have been 10 grand in a month, which is not too bad. Not life-changing money. Could be life-changing money for many people, but it's not, right? But now imagine if you had enough cash flow coming in where you were able to risk 2 grand, 3 grand per meme token, right? That would mean you would at least have to have a portfolio, in my opinion. If you're risking over 2 to 3 grand per trade, you should have a portfolio of over $60,000 already, in my opinion. Because if you're taking, let's say if you're starting your trading account with $1,000 and you're risking your full $1,000 in one trade, there's a higher probability you're going to lose your money as opposed to winning and actually hitting it big, right? Because with these meme tokens, you need to spread your money across the table and see which one pays off for you. And the one that you feel a little bit more comfortable and confident in, you throw in a couple more $100. And you spread your money, you spread your avenues right across it, and you see, okay, which one's going to hit? And you're like, John, that kind of sounds like gambling. Well, it kind of is. But it's like a calculated gamble, right? You're calculating your gamble in your favor, in your odds, right? For example, I think it might have been Chicago. He talked about Pola, right? And I said, looks pretty good. Let me go ahead and take a look at it. And it's been in my watch list ever since he told me about it, right? And I said, you know what? I'm going to look at it until I get a confirmation of a reversal. Well, guess what? It broke out. It literally printed from this bottom to this top. It already made a 5x. Imagine if you threw $2,000 on that bottom. That would have already been 10 grand if I made my math correctly. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Yeah, I just needed to make sure. 10 grand. You threw in 2 grand, you made 10 grand. Not bad, right? Literally, in this trade would have probably taken you a lot less. That trade would have probably taken you 4 days. So in 4 days, you turned 2 grand into 10 grand, which is not bad at all, man. That's a good amount. 2 grand into 10 grand in 4 days. That's not bad. So what I'm trying to tell you is, when you have the ability to risk more, you obviously have the ability to make more money, right? But the goal is, and I'm telling you based on experience, right? You sometimes think that the project you're going into is going to be the one that's going to make you that 20, 40, 50x. And sometimes it's not. Sometimes you hang on to that project too long and it doesn't go in your favor, right? And that's where most people lose when it comes to meme tokens. And I'm telling you based on my personal experience from not only last bull run, but also this bull run. You have to keep in mind the game changes every day. There's new scams, new tricks that are being played, new tools that are being used. different things, right, that are being done in order to wreck people. So, but there's ways to make money if you understand the culture of memes. It's literally it's a culture, guys. I know a lot of people laugh at memes. A lot of the traders back in the day that were Bitcoin maxis, XRP maxis, Cardano maxis would laugh at freaking meme coin traders, man. And meme coin traders have made a lot more money than those guys. And this is the reason why I'm telling you. You have to learn how to adapt, when it comes to trading and in your life, right? There might be times in your life where things are not going in your favor and new changes are coming and you're not willing to make that quick way to adapt to your circumstances, right? And that's what you have to do. When it comes to trading, when it comes to crypto, you have to be able to go with the flow of what's going on, right? The hot thing with Solana, in my opinion, I don't think it's going to be as hot anymore. The next hot thing is going to be Base. That's what I'm betting on, you know? If it does well, then I'm going to do pretty well. But it's a no-brainer, right? Why? Because this blockchain is brand new. It's a brand new blockchain. Right now, taking the risk of spreading $1,000 into some meme tokens on Base, you have a higher probability you will at least double your money on Base right now, as opposed to if you were to throw in $1,000 on Solana. There's like a 99% chance, I could tell you, you throw in $1,000 into Solana, you're more than likely going to lose your money, probably within the first 15 minutes. With Base, you could throw in $1,000, you'll probably take a hit on a few of those tokens, but I could guarantee you 3-4 of those projects are going to take you to break even plus profits, because the chances of a narrative not really hitting on Base are very low. So you have, in my opinion, a low risk, high reward when it comes to these Base tokens at the moment. With that being said, consider what I'm telling you. Do not go ahead and throw your money into all these Base tokens, because a lot of them will go ahead and rug pull, and a lot of them will go ahead and fail. The community will completely die off. And I mean, look at this. This thing was doing pretty good. This is a project that I was looking at. Candy, right? It's supposed to be Andy's girlfriend on Base. The reason why this narrative was so hot at the time was because Brit, right here, it's supposed to be Brett's girlfriend, right? So everybody's like, oh, like Brit, like this is the next play. But guess what? Brit is getting wrecked right now because Brett, our main guy, is also getting wrecked. And it's literally following what I've been talking about. I've mentioned there's a high probability Brett is going to be seeing 150 million market cap in the coming days. So it still has another 50% correction, and a lot of people are going to get shaken out of their positions, especially now that they enabled leverage trading. Right? So a lot of you that have been Brett holders, I've been letting you all know what is going to be happening. There's more than likely going to be another 50% correction. I've been calling it since over here. I literally began shorting Brett from over here, but I got stopped out of my position because that's how the market works. They stop you out of your position, the market goes in the direction where you knew it was going to go, just as a liquidity grab. There's nothing you could do about it, man. That's the part. When you're exposing yourself to leverage trading, you're exposing yourself to possibly getting stopped out of your position where, you know, you might break even, you might lose at a loss, at a very small loss, or you might lose all your money. That's how leverage trading works, right? This thing has already corrected from where I called that it was, I actually shorted it within that time frame, like right there. I entered it, and it did a quick little reversal just to fake it out and then dump it one last time. But it already did over a 45% correction since I've been calling it back in April 28th. There's still room for Brett to dump, in my opinion. And the reason why I'm telling you this is because if Brett dumps another 50%, can you imagine what's going to happen to Brits? This thing's going to go to 1 million to around 800,000 market cap, which a lot of people are going to freak out, right? But the reason why I'm telling you this, guys, and you guys have to listen to this very, very carefully, right? There's a reason why I'm telling you this and I'm showing you this. I'm telling you this because I used to be the trader where I would see a new narrative come out and I would just throw my money. I would exit my position and I would go all in into the next project. I'm like, okay, I just made, for example, okay, I just made $2,000 off of Andy. Let me go ahead and go all in on Brit. And there could be a 50-50 chance that it might go in your favor. But in my opinion, there's like a 90% chance that it's going to go against you. And you're going to be like, why, John? Hey, what's up, live trader? Hope you're having a good one today, bro. How you doing, man? You're going to be like, John, why would the trade go against my favor? Well, because you're acting in emotion. You have to become emotionless, literally, when you come into these markets. I've gotten wrecked so many freaking times, bro. So many. And I've made a lot of freaking money on a lot of these plays, too. I made a lot of money, and I made a lot of dumb decisions sometimes looking back, and I'm like, okay, I could have saved myself if I knew this or if I learned from this, right? So I've learned a lot from my mistakes now. But the only reason why I'm able to go ahead and stay a little bit more calm and collective on these plays is because I've lost a lot of money. I've made a lot of money, but I've given it back to the market because, trust me, you will make money. You will hit a 20, 30, 40, 50x, believe me. But the moment you start losing money is the moment when you start acting based on just pure emotion. Old John would have made some money on Andy, would have closed out his position, would have quickly ran into Brit, probably would have ended up buying the top, ended up putting $2,000 into this, and collapsed, 90% down. Everything that I worked very, very hard for, down the drain, zero. Why? Because no proper risk management. You have to keep in mind the goal is, whatever your goal is, everybody has a different number, right? Some people is to make $10,000 this bull run, $20,000, $50,000, $100,000. My goal this bull run is to hit 3 million, man, and I'm quite far away from that goal. And the reason why was because back in November, when I started entering some leverage positions, I turned $100 into $20,000 in 2 weeks. Leverage trading Pepe. You could check out my old channel, Altcoin John. You can literally see, I have facts, I have receipts of me doing $25,000, $8,000 day trades, bro. And the moment I lost money was because I went all in one project, trying to make the most money in one play. I put in $20,000 on 20x leverage on Grok. Literally the day I put in that money was the day Grok had some clog in their smart contract or something like that caused Grok to dump 80%. So I literally put in 20 grand. The day I put in 20 grand on 20x leverage on Grok, what I worked really, really hard for with $100, I traded my account from $100 to $20,000 in 2 weeks. What I worked very hard for, endless nights, I lost it all within less than a day. And the reason why was because I overexposed myself. Instead of only putting $6,000, $8,000 in that trade, I put in $20,000. Why? Because I said that day in November, my goal, I told all of you guys, my goal was to hit 100,000 plus by the end of December going into 2024. And I was at $20,000. I went from $100 to $20,000, and my goal was to hit 100 grand by December. Well, guess what? I got greedy, and I wanted to turn my $20,000 into $500,000, which, let me tell you, after Grok dumped 80%, the trade went in the direction where I knew it was going to go. The only thing was that I didn't time the trade at the right time. If I would have placed my trade a day after, I would have turned my 20 grand into $500,000. It would have been a $500,000 trade, and I would have ended the month really, really well. But the reason why that trade went against me was because I wanted to make that goal a lot quicker, right? I was thinking emotionally and not logically. As a logical person, I would have probably said, you know what, throwing $20,000 leverage trading on a meme token is probably not the smartest idea. Let me go ahead and only risk 5 grand. You do not have to make $1 million overnight. You don't have to make $20,000 overnight. If you could do it gradually and consistently, not only are you not exposing yourself to losing money, but you're not exposing yourself to having to rebuild your trading portfolio over and over again. I've rebuilt my portfolio just this year alone at least 3 to 4 times, where I've started with a couple $100 and I've done it up to a couple grand, $9,000, $10,000, $20,000. I did that at least 2 or 3 times in the last 6 months. And I'm on the road right now to doing it again. But based on what I've learned is you have to have proper risk management. And just know that when you're entering these trades, there's a 9 out of 10 that a trade is going to go against you. So you have to be comfortable putting in the amount. And I know everybody says, oh yeah, put in what you're willing to lose. Okay, yeah, everybody says that, but do they really know what it means? That means having proper risk management, right? If you have $1,000 and you're starting your account to trade with, don't throw in $1,000 in one trade. You might hit it. There's a high probability you will hit it. Trust me. And you'll probably hit it multiple times where you turn $1,000 into probably 200 grand. But then the moment you get really greedy and you're putting in $20,000, $30,000, $50,000 per trade, and because you didn't have proper risk management early on, guess what? You're going to lose that money very quick because you never had proper structured risk management. And that's what I'm saying. When you start bringing in this amount of money, $20, $30, $40, $50,000 per trade, you do not go all in one trade. You put in a percentage of that. Let's say, for example, you make $20,000 in one trade on meme tokens. Your next position, you might want to risk only $500 to $1,000. And you're like, John, why wouldn't I just put the $20,000 and make $500,000 and become a millionaire and probably overnight? Well, because there's a higher probability it will go against you. A high probability it will go against you. You might get lucky a few times, but trust me, your luck will come to an end. And you will just be in this endless cycle where you're making a lot of money, losing a lot of money, making a lot of money, losing a lot of money, because you're always trying to bet big. You're always trying to, it's like the casino, you're trying to come back even stronger. Oh, this time I'm going to put in more money and this time the trade's going to go you have to keep in mind, the trade is probably going to go against you, right? You just have to minimize the fact that you're wrong. And it's okay being wrong. I've already taken a few L's on base. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I have not lost money on base already. I've already lost a couple $100. I jumped into the wrong plays. But you know what I did differently this time? Is that I didn't go all in into a project. I didn't go based on my emotion. I went off logic. I sat here and I said, let me go ahead and take a look at this project. And if this project is really bullish, we're going to see how it does in the next coming days. Because I've noticed a pattern. These tokens pump 20, 30, 40, 50x. Then they come dumping 90%. Look at Brit. Look at Brit. Look how much it has dumped. From this top to this bottom, 80%. Guess what? I was looking at Brit since it launched. I'm not going to tell you and sit here and not lie to you that I didn't get FOMO. I was almost at times when I wanted to sell my Andy and Benny position, even though I was in profits, to go all in into one trade and make more money a lot quicker. And I probably would have hit it. I probably would have hit it. I would have taken out some of my profits into Andy, and I would have probably, jumped over here at the bottom at the top. I probably would have made a quick little couple grand on the way up. But if I was entering the top of the market, I would have gotten wrecked. Now that the market has corrected, once I start to take profits on Andy and Benny, which I haven't on Andy, on Benny I've probably only taken about $70 of profits, and I threw it into Bowden, which has been a terrible play. Lost money on that. I lost money on a few trades already on base, but the reason why I'm over in profits from the money I started with was because I spread my money on tokens that I believed in, and the tokens that I really believed in more, I put in more money. For example, if I had $1,000 a trade, let's say you throw in $400 into into Benny, $400 into Andy, that's $800, and now you have $200 left. Now with those $200 that you have left, you could go ahead and gamble and go into a riskier play. You could literally go into a token that just launched and possibly hit a 20x off the bat. But if you don't hit a 20x off the bat, guess what? You only lost 100 or only $50 or only 150, as opposed to losing $400, $800 in your portfolio. And if you started with $1,000 and you lost your money, it's over. You're going to be feeling depressed. You're going to be freaking mad. You're going to be like, why did this happen? You're going to be going through all these moments in your life where you're not going to feel good, right? And I'm telling you because I've been through those moments multiple times. And it's not a good feeling. As a trader, that's probably like the worst times and the worst moments you can go through. You know, when you start questioning and doubting your trading ability. You have to keep in mind, this market is going to do everything the opposite way. You might be right in your position, in your narrative, but maybe the timing was a little too late. Maybe the timing was a little too soon. For example, that Grok narrative. Was I correct that Grok was going to pump? I was 100% correct that Grok was going to pump. But what happened? I wasn't thinking from a logical perspective. I was thinking from an emotional standpoint. So when I jumped into Grok, right here. Look, I made my 20 grand in Grok. In Pepe. I made my 20 grand. I jumped into Grok right here, bro. Right here at the freaking top. And then saw a freaking 70% correction. You're like, John, why didn't you just hold through your trade? I was leverage trading, bro, with 20x leverage. I just saw 20 grand literally washed up. Lost it in literally less than 30 minutes. Like, because I put in the trade, went to sleep, woke up. 90% down, bro. 20 grand, 90% down. Was I wrong about Grok going up? Was I wrong about my prediction that Grok was going to hit these levels? Look, I literally had this right here with Grok. I'm not sure if I was like, probably this is where my prediction was being that Grok was going to go to. And I was literally aiming this. I was like, okay, all it has to do is a 2x, bro. And I'm already going to go ahead and generate $500,000 in literally a day, in a week. $500,000 in a week. That's a freaking solid play. But what I didn't put into consideration was a 70% drop. If I would have probably threw in only 2 grand and I saw it dump 70%, I could have probably slowly aped into my position, and then I could have thrown in more money within this range right here, and I would have probably been over $1 million plus on my portfolio, and I would have been okay. But I was thinking emotionally, right? I wasn't waiting for that full-on confirmation that Grok was going to go up. I just went based off emotion, and I lost all my money. All the money, I wouldn't say that I worked really hard for, but I did stay up for at least 2 weeks, literally endless nights where I wouldn't sleep for a couple days on a lot of caffeine, looking at charts, literally 24/7, trading my little $100 into 20 grand. Probably the most stressful, the worst times in my life, emotionally, physically, mentally, worst time ever. And I would never trade that for anything else. And it sucks more where I put myself through all of that pain to then lose it within less than a day. Literally a couple minutes. Like, I would say a couple hours before that shit dropped down to 70%. So what I'm telling you is Grok obviously did hit the levels that I was predicting it was going to hit. It just didn't happen within that time frame. And that's what I'm trying to tell you. You're not going to go ahead and predict where a lot of these trades are going. So now that these trades I've been patiently looking at, these narratives come and go with these meme tokens specifically. Some of these meme tokens might do good. Some of them might only be hot for 2 days. Some of them might only be trending for 15 minutes. That's the different ballgame between meme tokens. They're so brand new that your risk level is very, very high. But if you're willing to minimize your risk and wait for confirmation. The TA has been following it pretty well. I mean, I've been calling Andy and Benny's TA on point. It's not always the case. I'm going to tell you this. It's not always the case. With meme tokens, you have team tokens, snipers dumping on you, the team dumping on you, you have influencers dumping on you. You have a lot of things against your favor as opposed to the higher cap altcoins and Bitcoin. There's not as much manipulation as there is with meme tokens. That's why with meme tokens, you have a higher chance of probability of losing money, because we could wake up tomorrow and Andy could come out with like the biggest FUD, and my profits that I'm in right now would come down and I will lose everything. And that's a reality of meme coin trading. Mentioned the same thing what happened to Grok. Grok was doing good. I entered a trade. Some FUD came in, cost the token to dump 80%. Was I wrong about my technical analysis? No. Was I wrong about it? No. It just so happened that an external problem came in, vulnerability, a hack, whatever it was, came in and dumped a token. And that's something that's out of your control. And that's why having proper risk management, you have to be aware of. Brett right now, I told myself, I was like, I don't know, dude, Brett's too high. Based on what I've seen time and over again, when a lot of influencers start talking about a project, it's more than likely going to be the top. Especially when you have influencers with over 1 million plus followers on YouTube or the higher end YouTube channels. That's the top, guys. That's the freaking top. That's the top. I said the same thing with Bonk. When Bonk hit 1 billion market cap, I told everybody around December, don't buy Bonk, bro. It's going to dump 80%. Guess what happened? It dumped 80%. Am I a wizard because I was able to predict that? No, guys, because I've noticed that when these tokens run up like crazy, you never want to buy up. That's just the reason why even when I'm bullish on Andy, I never tell you guys to buy on green. I never do. And if I do, I tell you dollar cost average, because anything could happen. When Andy was running up from here, I told all you guys, just wait for it to retrace 70 to 80%. It's going to happen. Guess what? From this top to this bottom, Andy retraced 73%. Did anybody buy? I don't know. I know I did. Right? When Andy pumped from this range right here and it did a 2x, I told a lot of you, there's a possibility we might get rejected. It might dump again. We might have another additional 50 to 70% dump. Consider buying then. Andy dumped 49%. And you're like, John, but you're bullish on the project. Yeah, I'm bullish, but I'm also realistic of what's going to happen. These patterns are very, very predictable. They pump 10, 20, 30x, 6x, and then they dump 80%. So don't run into the emotional side of this is what the market wants you to do. They want to see you buy on green as it's pumping. People like myself and other people, traders, that have been early on holding on to their positions, they're going to dump on you. Your exit liquidity, you're probably going to be left holding the bag, or you might sell at the bottom. And then someone like myself that knows, that has 70, 80% corrections every other time it pumps, we're going to come, scoop up the bottom, re-enter, buy in. You're probably going to buy again at the mid or at the top, and you're going to get dumped again. And you're like, bro, why does this always happen to me? It's because you're going based off an emotional standpoint. You're not looking at the chart logically and saying, okay, let me go ahead and patiently wait. I'm glad looking at a lot of these tokens that I've waited, because I would have lost all my money if I would have just jumped in emotionally, thinking that it was going to do well, right? Right now, as I mentioned to you, and I'm letting you know, I'm going to buy Brett. Best believe I'm going to buy Brett, but I'm not going to buy it anytime soon until I see the bottom coming in. And I think another 50% corrections around the table. I could be wrong, but I think another 50 to 60% correction, we could be seeing Brett at 150 to 80 million market cap. And I really want to see who's going to be buying. There's probably not going to be a lot of people, but I'm going to be patiently waiting to buy that dip, because eventually it's going to come back up. And all the people that bought the top right here got wrecked. They got wrecked. And people like me that are patiently waiting for their position, their entry, we're going to make so much money, because from this bottom to this top, if it ever comes back to this top, we're only at 8x away. But the beautiful thing about Brett now is that you could leverage trade it. So I could enter literally with a $500 position, 3 to 5x leverage, and then do 3 times of that, or 5 times of that, or 20 times of that with an 8x around the corner, right? So I'm looking at Brett. I'm looking at Ski Mask. I've been looking at Ski Mask at under 10 million market cap. And I told a lot of you, when I saw Ski Mask run up the first day, I just said I'm going to put it on my watch list. It sounds like a good narrative, but is the community really with it? We're going to see, right? So far, this project has been pretty good. You know, what I'm seeing right now with Ski Mask, I did mention to you guys, I'm like, this might be the bottom for Ski Mask. I don't see it going any lower than this. Worst comes to worst, Ski Mask comes back down to this range right here, and then we might bounce. If we fall down, I think the project might be dead, but there's a possibility that this might be the bottom for Ski Mask. So if I see Ski Mask pump like crazy this next run up, and it's probably going to be like 60 million market cap this next run up. Because with a 2x, that would take us at a 60 million. Yeah, with a 2x, that would take us at a 40 to 60 million plus market cap. So I'm not talking crazy numbers. So this next run up, when Ski Mask jumps, and I don't get an entry point for Ski Mask, you think I'm gonna be buying as this thing's going up? I'm not. I'm gonna patiently wait. I don't care if Ski Mask pumps an 8x, a 10x, a 20x. I missed out, man. I missed out. I'm just going to wait for that retracement to dump 70 to 80%. I'm going to load up my bags at this bottom or wherever the bottom is. Load up on my position. See a major reversal, and then another 10x is coming. And I would rather feel more comfortable buying in at this mid right here than buying at this top right here, because this is very, very risky. Now, if Ski Mask does break through this right here and it holds up pretty well, I'd be a little bit more comfortable. But as I mentioned, you're sometimes better off missing out on the play and then waiting for that thing to pump back up to see where things go. Because another example, and I know I'm going I'm going off, but look at this one right here, Candy. We talked about Candy, right? Somebody mentioned Candy on the channel, and I saw it doing pretty good. And I told all of you, hey guys, sounds really good, sounds like a really good narrative, but I'm going to wait. I'm going to go ahead and wait where things go. And two, it's too early on to make a decision where things are really going to go, if this meta is going to stick around. Look at this now. This thing was at over 1 million market cap, if I can remember correctly. Look at this thing now. It's at 59,000 market cap. Imagine the people that got stuck buying a dip all the way down based on the community. I don't know how strong the community is. It could be strong. I don't know. But look at this. Selling pressure. There's more selling pressure than buying pressure. Do you think I'm going to come in here and buy this? I'm not. Because this more than likely, this might be, or this meta might be already done with. The people that are dollar cost averaging into this position and throwing hundreds and thousands of dollars might not make their money back, because maybe, let's say, the team already fully dumps all their tokens, and this thing crashes down to 20,000 market cap. It's going to take a lot longer to recover, right? I'm going to be considering jumping into this position if I see Candy break and hold above this area right here. So what I'm going to do, and the reason why I'm telling you this, I think Candy's going to come back. I think so. But that's what my emotions say, right? Logically, we're going to go ahead and wait how these levels are respected. So if Candy breaks and holds above this range right here, you guys will hear me talking about Candy in the next coming days, if we see this range being broken. If you don't, you're going to know why, because this thing's, from an emotional standpoint, I guess you could go ahead and put a little bit of logic, but from a logical standpoint, it doesn't make any sense of why you should be throwing your money into this. It has been doing nothing but red, and you're like, John, but that's what you got to do. You got to buy the red. Yeah, you got to buy the red when there's actual interest into the token. What if people are just exiting their position and no one cares about Candy anymore? You got stuck holding a project that's completely dead. It's never going to pump, and you're going to miss out on the projects that actually people are actually looking to trade with. And that's what you have to be very, very careful for, right? So there's a few tokens right here on my watch list that I'm just watching, looking at how the market's going to react in order for me to go ahead and throw some money. And I was in GameStop, and I told a lot of you I was in GameStop, and I kind of regret not selling at this top when I had the chance right here. I had the chance to sell right here at the top. And with GameStop, we saw that initial run up again. But guess what? With GameStop, I'd be more comfortable throwing in at this range right here because we saw GameStop run up again, it retrace, and it could be a possibility we might have another run up taking us past 2 million plus market cap, right? Because we have now found that nice area of support. So this is the reason why TA is important to understand. I'm not doing any crazy TA. It's very simple support and resistance. And this is the reason why I show you this and I tell you this. But one thing that I've noticed is that you're better off waiting a few days, a few weeks, a few months to go ahead and get that full confirmation that that trade that you're placing is going to go in your favor. It's not always going to work. You're probably still going to have times where you will lose money. I'm not saying you won't, but the whole goal is to minimize your risk of losing money, right? If you look at Benny, the same thing happened to Benny, right? I told a lot of you the same thing right here too as well with Benny. And if we look at this on a daily time frame, I told a lot of you the bottom was probably in right here on Benny, and you might want to consider entering a trade as soon as you see this break. If you would have entered it right here, that would have still been a 1.4x, maybe like almost a 2, let's just say a 1.5, so 1.5x. But if you would have caught this bottom right here, that would have been a nice little 6x. But see, the thing is, if you didn't believe in Benny back over here when I was calling it, and you didn't believe in Benny back over here when I was calling it, this is your confirmation, in my opinion, where you know the capability of what Benny has. Benny's next run up is going to be minimum, in my opinion, 12 million plus market cap. So we will be seeing that 20 million plus market cap that I've been talking about since literally back over here. Right? And the charts are telling us too. Now, if Benny, gets rejected right here, yeah, we're going to come back down to sub a million. And you might want to consider possibly buying the dip, or maybe this is the end for Benny. But until we get signs of how the market's reacting and how the community's reacting, that's how you're going to know when to exit a trade or how to enter one. Right now, I wouldn't be surprised if Benny pumps to a 5x in the coming days. And it's no coincidence, man. I've been showing a lot of you guys this over and over again, and I know it's really repetitive. That's just how TA is. It's all about data. It's all about repetitiveness, similar patterns, the same thing over and over again. And the only way you're able to, I guess, debunk all of this is by being aware of these situations, being aware of these patterns, being aware of these pumps, being aware of these dumps, being aware of how the market reacts. You could tell when a chart is when community is actually interested in a chart as opposed to a quick pump and dump. This was a quick pump and dump. Look, I can show you a quick pump and dump. This is a quick pump and dump right here. This is a quick pump and dump. You get some influencers in here, callers, you shill it, it pumps for maybe 2 days, and then it dumps. 90%. Token done. This is a pump and dump. This is a money grab. This is what you call, I guess, another sort of rug, right? Did the team have the intentions to rug? Who knows? Did the team actually put in the effort to really push the chart? Doesn't really look like it. Maybe the team doesn't have enough money to really push it, but you could tell that the teams behind Andy and Benny know what they're doing based on the chart. Based on the chart alone, you could tell the team, if they're taking profits on their positions, they're doing it the healthy way. They're not overdoing it. You could tell when there's a lot of insiders, when there's a lot of team members, a lot of influencers dumping their bags, is when you look at charts similar to Candy. This pump and dump. You could tell when a team is just selling. Maybe the team was selling all their tokens all the way down and dumped their tokens again on this massive sell, or maybe the community lost interest in this project. It could be a multiple things, but what I could tell you is that this was a quick money grab. This is a team that was either inexperienced, had the intentions to just dump their tokens onto the market, or 3, this was just a token with a lot of insiders that dumped the tokens. I mean, same thing, right? So you could tell when these tokens are going to be the chosen ones. Same thing with Bowden. I bought in at Bowden during the hype. I threw in a couple, I think I only threw in $100 something, and a dollar cost average, and then I dollar cost average last week again. And same thing with Bowden. I saw it hit 1 million, it dumped, I dollar cost average. I jumped in probably like right here, I dollar cost average, and then I jumped in like right within the zone right here. But I only put in $70 right here because I knew there was a higher probability this thing was going to dump even more and probably be done with. So when I entered this position right here, I'm like, okay, it's already done with. So now I'm also understanding the game with base right here. You got to understand this. Same thing with Bowden. Bowden had either, I could almost assure you probably the team was selling their tokens, bro. Because look at this massive selling pressure. There's nothing but selling pressure. Not only are we not holding the chart, but we're not even creating enough volume for interest. There's more selling pressure than buying pressure. Hey, what's up, my guy? What's up, guys? What's up? Life Trader, bro. I got SHIB at 1 sat first week at launch. I think Andy will be around 200x. Nice, man. What is Shiba? What is that? Is that a BTC token? Jackson, how's it going, my guy? Yo, John, how's it going, dude? Tillery, long time no see, buddy. How you been? What's up, bro? It's been a while with you. Blessings. Dork Lord is pumping. Is this Dork Lord on Solana? Look at Bombcat, Bcat, Dork Lord for sure. How's it going, Happy? I apologize, guys. When I get into these rants, I sometimes zone out into these moments. I don't purposely try to ignore any of you. So let me go ahead and look into Dork Lord. I'm assuming this is probably on Solana. They actually have a Dork Lord on base too. Let's see which one is it, Tillery? If you guys could go ahead and share the smart contracts, that would be very, very helpful. Like, I'm willing to talk about any project. Just go ahead and share the smart contract down below in the comments, because that makes it easier and quicker for me to go ahead and look into these tokens, as opposed to manually typing these in one by one, right? So it makes it more efficient, plus it gives you a chance for you to shield the token, so when people are watching the live stream, they could go ahead and go back and actually grab the smart contract and buy it themselves, right? Yeah, so I don't know which Dork Lord it is. There's just way too many. Let's see, look at Bowcat. Is Bowcat on base? Bow. Are you talking about the original Dork Lord on ETH? Bobcat. Let's see. Let's look at their website. Let's see what it is. It's a cat meme. We talked about cat memes. So it looks like this was a pre-sale. They had over 40% of pre-sale, 40% burn, 20% liquidity. I kind of figured this was a pre-sale, and the reason why was because of this initial massive green candle, right? Their supply is very low, it's at 470 million. They have decent 24-hour volume at 65,000. We're seeing a little bit of buying pressure. So it's a little bit more buying pressure than selling pressure. But because this token's only been out for 3 days, for me personally, I would wait. But it looks like a bottom is being formed on Bowcat. It looks like a bottom is being formed. What I would feel a little bit more comfortable with if I was looking to go ahead and enter a trade, if you're willing to go ahead and take the risk, just know that there's a probability that this thing might dump from here straight down, or this thing might try to break out of this area of resistance, get rejected, and come back down and make new all-time lows, taking us to about 150 to about 80,000 market cap, right? That's bad case scenario. Bullish case scenario is we could see Bowcat probably do one of these things where it hits it, gets rejected, comes back down, and then it breaks out, which to me, this would be a confirmation. And usually once we have these breakouts, they kind of moon a lot, guys. But where I would be interested in scooping in some Bowcats was if we were to see this come back down over here at this area of support, because that would mean that we would have a massive leg to the upside like this. So realistically, if Bowcat was to follow this pattern where it comes down to the zone right here, and I'm telling you just based on what I've seen multiple times with a lot of projects, like this pattern is very, very common. This is very similar to like a triangle bull flag pattern, whatever you want to call it. I've traded this pattern so many freaking times on Solana meme tokens, and I've made 20x's. And I could tell you that like 8 out of 10 times this usually happens, where it breaks out, it gets dumped back to support, and then it moons, or typically it just moons from here, right? So this is looking kind of bullish, but as I mentioned, based on the fact that it's a pre-sale, I would go ahead and wait, but it is getting a little bit more buying pressure, which is a good sign. So I'd definitely be interested in entering a position on Bowcat in the next coming days if I see how this is reacting, right? I want to see how the community is reacting. The way I look into the community without looking at the Telegram, because the Telegram is full of BS in my opinion. I didn't look into the Andy community too much, or the Benny community. I just stuck to what the charts and the data was telling me. That way I wouldn't have a conviction by somebody else, like kind of like telling me that this is the reason why it's bullish. And this is the reason why I show you all of this, so you can go ahead and do your own analysis on your own. I don't want you to be influenced by anything of what I'm saying. I just want you to be aware of what I'm bringing to the table, right? I'm just letting you know these are the signs. This is what I see. This is what I see in value. This is what I don't see in value. Maybe Bowcat moons and this is the next big project. I don't know, right? I don't know, but I'm just telling you based on an honest opinion of what I think, right? And based on what I think is I think it might do something similar to like this if it has more buying pressure. It needs a little bit more buying pressure in order for it to do this. This is a pre-sale that just came out a few days ago. So I would patiently wait to see that breakout for me personally, before I throw in money, right? With that being said, what I'll be looking at very closely is I'll be looking at the holder count. So in the next coming days, if I see this holder count go from 459 to like 620, that's going to tell me, okay, people are interested. And then that's when I'll go ahead and start doing research into their Telegram or their Twitter, seeing if there's any new announcements, any callers, stuff like that, because that definitely tells you that the community is getting hyped up for a reason, right? The other second indicator I'll be looking at will be the volume. How much volume is being generated on the 24-hour volume, right? $65,000 is not that bad, but that could also mean several things, right? Selling pressure and other things. The token's brand new, so if people got pre-sales, it could be dumping, so they might be panicking, selling out of their pre-sale and stuff like that. So for me, I'm waiting on this one, but that's what I'm going to be looking at. It's the holder count and the 24-hour volume. Do we see an increase? If out of nowhere I just see a 300,000 24-hour volume, that's going to tell me that for some reason a lot of people are interested, traders are being interested, whales are being attracted, and there's a possibility that this thing might just fly through the moon, right? But you have to be aware of these things. You have to be aware of the holder count and the volume count and how much buying or selling pressure there is. Right now, there's a little bit more buying pressure. So it wouldn't surprise me if in the next coming days, we could see Bowcat at a 600 holder count, generating over 100,000 plus in 24-hour volume, right? But until I see those signs, I would then consider jumping into a position. To me, I'm gonna be honest, the narrative just doesn't really excite me. I don't know what a Bowcat is. I don't know if this is some sort of meme, a cartoon show. I don't know. And for that reason, I'm not saying that it's not gonna pump, but for me personally, I don't know what it is. So unless I get that confirmation even more that it is bullish, then I would consider it. But the narrative to me just is not big enough. And I'm not saying it can't be big enough, but you have to stick to the narratives, right? Like I told a lot of you guys that if we were to see a ski mask with a cat, that might be the next play. I haven't seen one yet. I haven't come across one yet. Maybe there is one. But we know Ski Mask Dog has been a pretty popular token, right? I've been eyeing Ski Mask for a while. I saw it at under 10 million market cap. It's at 20, so it's already doubled. The holder count was way under 27,000 holders. I could tell you that. I think it might have been at 13,000 holders if I'm not mistaken, or maybe 21. So it's grown in holder count as well, almost a full-on 1 or 2x, right? Depending on where I saw it. The 24-hour volume is at 137 million. That's a good sign. I mean, that means there's a lot of volatility into this token, right? And what you want to take advantage of these tokens is you want to take advantage of volatility. So there's several things you have to keep in mind. Narratives, volume. For example, Andy, right? Andy, I've been under this thing since under 1 million. Holder count when I was in it, I think it was around 12,000 holders or something like that. And it's at 22,000 holders. Almost a full double. 24-hour volume at 584,000. Not the best volume, but it's not bad, right? Because we're holding we're growing on holder count. Benny, for example, I was in Benny when it was at like 4,000, 3,000 holders. So same thing, it almost did a 2 to 3x in holder count. So those are bullish signs that a community is growing and people are picking up on. Benny has a very strong narrative. You know, someone asked me a few days ago about Roost, and I said I didn't like Roost. Does that mean that my opinion can't change? No. My opinion could 100% change, but Roost is not showing me anything exciting just yet. This could be literally a freaking... The reason why Roost is always hot trending, it's probably because of the volume. And it could be a multiple of things. Maybe the team is just literally pumping and dumping their tokens. They're literally creating this pump to create more exit liquidity for the bags. And we could probably even see this go to like 5 million market cap. And I wouldn't be surprised. Because also with Roost, I saw it pumping very high and I didn't jump into it because it has been literally a pump and dump. This is a liquidity grab, guys. Pump and dump. Do you see the difference between the charts that I've been showing you, between the charts that just continue to dump? I'm not saying Roost cannot out of nowhere reverse, but when I see Roost do something like this, this is where I will consider opening a trade with Roost and then longing to all the way up, because that means the bottom is finally in. But right here, when I'm seeing a lot of selling pressure, I don't know where the bottom's in. The bottom could be at 1 million for all I know. And I've learned that early on with a project that I jumped in called Poon. I think it's called Poon. I don't even think I have it here anymore. I really don't even care about it. I already considered it a loss. I think I put in no more than 150 to 200 bucks in it. And I'm telling you, I've seen it based on signs of what you want to avoid and what you don't want to do, right? So with Roost, until I see some bottom coming in, I would consider buying it. I'm not saying I won't buy it. I'm just saying that I won't buy it right now because what it's giving me signs of is nothing bullish about it, man. Nothing bullish about it. The Roost is bullish though because I'm guessing they're going based off of the cock emu narrative with AVAX. So I'm assuming that's why they made a Roost coin, which the logo looks good. Honestly, I think the website looks good too, if I can remember correctly. Yeah, the website looks good. Like, I really do see this being a memeable token, right? But unfortunately, this was a pre-sale token, and it has nothing but dump. That's what these pre-sales do. I've already been in 2 pre-sales. You know, the last one I was in was Aped. That did terrible. I literally put in $180, took out freaking $25 out of it, man. It literally did nothing but dumped. I'm on Slothana, which that project, I'm supposed to be getting my airdropped, but with pre-sales, man, I already consider them lost. Like, I just don't expect anything from them, right? So with Roost, we could see a reversal. But until I get signs, I would consider it. One of you guys recommended Pola. You told me, hey, John, what about Pola? And I was like, hey, you know what? I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not really liking the chart. I'm going to go ahead and wait. And until I get a confirmation of a reversal, I would consider buying this token. So now this token has literally broken out of this zone that I was looking at. I was waiting. I missed out on the breakout. So does that mean it's done? Should I be jumping into the project? Not really, because Pola could go ahead and pump an additional 10x, 3x, 5x. I don't know, maybe it pumps more. But I know eventually it's going to come back down to these levels and retest it, whether it's right here or whether it's right here. And then once that bottom comes in, guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to go ahead and long the bottom if this is the bottom. More than likely, it's probably going to retrace to these levels. If this is not the bottom right here, which it looks like it might be, we might probably come back down to like right here or right here. And if that's the bottom, guess what? I'm going to load up on Pola. It's really that simple. You just have to wait. You just can't be throwing your money into a lot of these tokens that like the community's like, yeah, dude, just dollar cost average. We're going to the moon. And then the chart's showing you otherwise. The chart's just dumping every day. That's exit liquidity right there, guys. So you have to be very, very careful when you're jumping into these projects. Don't go based on emotion. Go based off logic. I know a lot of you are like, hey, John, but I don't know how to do TA. Well, this is the reason why you're tuning into the live stream, so you can learn. I'm not doing anything crazy. I'm not counting the stars of Saturn and Jupiter to make my prediction. I'm not doing anything difficult. I'm doing very simple things where I just draw lines. A lot of people make fun of like, dude, all you do is just draw lines top and bottom and say 10x. Yes, because it's that freaking simple, bro. It's that very simple. You don't have to overcomplicate TA. People overcomplicate it. Yes, there's other, patterns. There's other, LEO wave theories, Fibonacci retracements, fixed range indicator, which are a little bit more advanced. You could actually predict like almost top to bottoms, which that's kind of how I was able to predict the, Andy with the fixed range indicator. I was able to predict that breakout because of that tool. And as one thing you also have to remember is it's all about time in the market. I've been looking at charts for quite a while. I've been looking at charts for a couple of years already. So it takes time to get an understanding of what a token's going to do. But the more you understand a chart, the more you look at it, the more you're going to understand. And a lot of you are like, John, but I don't have time for that. Well, dude, I don't know what to tell you, man. I don't know what to tell you. Like if you can't take the time to, listen into the live stream and at least try to get some golden nuggets and your free time, look at charts and understand. The goal for me is that when I'm doing these live streams are one, for me to reflect back into, to understand what I did right, what I did wrong. It's almost like a trading journal. And two, is for all that information that I'm giving you, I hope that one day, even if you never come back to this channel, you at least come back one day. Not in my channel, I'm telling you. If you ever just come learn something, I want you to learn something, man. I want all of you to learn something new from what I tell you. That if you no longer are watching my channel, or let's say I retire from creating content, at least you remember what I told you. And you're like, oh yeah, I remember when John told me to look out for these indicators. And these indicators are going to switch every day, every week, every month, every year. What we're talking about right now might not be the same thing in the next couple months. Maybe the whole game flips. And the only way you're able to understand that is by having time in the market and putting in the work. Like I'm sorry to tell you, but there's really no other quick narrative of just flipping this money very quickly. And that's the thing that kind of disappoints me a bit in this market, because people think you could just make all this money, and you will get lucky multiple times. But if you don't know what you're doing, or you don't understand what you're looking at, you're not going to make it very far for a long time. And you might make a couple million, $500,000 out of luck. But it's not going to be nothing relatable to the people that have been in this market through the ups and downs, who have been during a bear market, during a bull market, during a neutral market. You won't be able to understand the volatility of a lot of these things if you don't understand from being time in the market. And I always tell a lot of you, you only learn from two ways. You learn from personal experience, or you learn through the experience of others. What I'm telling you is not only time, but also pain that I went through to understand a lot of these things. And I'm learning every day to minimize that, right? To minimize that pain. No one likes pain, bro. No one likes it, you know? So you could either learn from what I'm telling you, or you could go ahead and go through your own experience and hardships in your own life and learn through it that way. I'm that kind of person. I unfortunately learn through pain, man. I have to go through it myself, get wrecked, be in that position in my life to really understand not to do that again, unfortunately, you know? And that could be a good and a bad thing. And some people are quick learners. They learn from the mistakes and the pains of others. So you decide which roller coaster ride you want to take. Do you want to take the personal experience of pain when it comes to these markets, or do you want to go ahead and learn from the mistakes and pains of others, right? So you get to go ahead and decide. For me, as I mentioned, I like to go ahead and talk about this because it's not an easy game. And I've been there before when I asked, like, dude, I just threw my money into this project. Why is it going against my favor? Why is it going against me, right? So it's very, 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 very relatable. It's really, really normal for it to happen. So don't ever question or second guess yourself when it comes to a lot of these things. The market is made to play games with you. It's made to make you think these kind of things. It makes you to react a certain way, and it plays with your mind, literally, dude. And it's going to screw you. It's either going to make you or it's going to break you. That's why I tell a lot of people, trading is not for everybody. This is a roller coaster of emotions. If you're okay going through constant ups and downs every hour, every minute, every couple of days, every week, you're going to do fine in this market. You might go a little crazy, but if you don't have that pain, you're just not going to make it. You're just not going to make it. This market moves way too quick, way too freaking quick. It's, in my opinion, it's nothing compared to having a stable business, right? There's some businesses that are going to do well off the bat, and there's some businesses that just take off forever and never experience hardship. But I think trading is a whole different thing, man. It changes within seconds. And I think it's, I guess you could really compare it to a casino, right? You could be winning 1 second and you're losing everything the next second. So a lot of people might not be able to pull through that. And it's very difficult to go ahead and pull through it. But if you do pull through it, you reap some really good rewards. And you reap rewards that people were not willing to go ahead and stay and understand how the market moves, right? The more time you spend in the market, the more you tend to understand these moves. This is the reason why I was able to predict and call Bitcoin with a dump in the market, because I've already seen it. I've already seen it. You know what I mean? I've already noticed these last couple of years of how Bitcoin reacts, how it moves. Right? We're not going to go ahead and call every top and bottom exactly, and that's not the goal, to call every top or bottom by the dot. The goal is to understand when to make that market pivot. You know, and I think based on my analysis, I could be wrong, but I think we are coming soon to that altcoin/meme coin season that we've all been waiting for. And when that moment comes, it's going to catch everybody by surprise. You and I, all of you right here, that are still watching and listening, we're going to reap all the rewards because we were willing to go through that pain during these hard times back over here at the bottom, when no one believed in it, when people had doubts, when people were not willing to learn, when people were not willing to take 15-20 minutes of their day to understand how to use a new blockchain, to understand how a chart moves. We're going to be the winners, and we're going to be the ones reaping these kind of rewards where we see over 10, 30, 40, 50 X's, because we were willing to take the risk early on before anybody. And when the normies start to come in, I don't have this tendency to feel bad for people anymore. You either join the party or you don't, you know, regardless of the fact. Some of you might acknowledge what I'm saying. Some of you might not. You're like, hey, John, you're too much of it, man. I don't want to hear it. I just want to hear 10x. Some people are going to be like that, right? But other people, what I'm telling you, are going to take advantage of that information that I'm telling and saying. and you're going to make a lot of freaking money, and you're going to learn from all the mistakes that I've learned and been through in these markets these last couple of years, from the stock market to the crypto market, right? And they're two different markets, but by the time retail starts getting in, they're going to be getting in like right here, bro, right here. And I'm not going to feel 1 inch of being, I'm not going to feel not even 1 centimeter of feeling bad of selling my hundreds of thousands of dollars positions into retail and exit when they're buying this top right here. I'm not going to feel bad, and neither should you. That's called exit liquidity. We need to print exit liquidity for our positions, right? So when retail starts coming in, there is our sign for exit liquidity. If you were in Dogecoin last time and you got wrecked buying Dogecoin at 70 cents, guess what, man? You were exit liquidity for Bob that made millions of dollars. Think about it. Just remember that pain you went through that time when Dogecoin went up very, very high to 70 cents and it dumped 80%. You were the exit liquidity for Bob. Bob freaking enjoyed his money that bull run, man. He was probably out on his yacht with his family, having fun, taking vacations. He probably bought a couple vacation homes by then. You were the exit liquidity for Bob. Maybe because you were not willing to learn about this technology of blockchain, right? Now, if you were one of those people that jumped in because of that during that time, and you told yourself, okay, I'm never going to go through that ever again and experience it, well, now's your time for you to be the person reaping these rewards early on, and now you exiting your position on Timmy, and now it's going to be your turn for you to be reaping your rewards on your new yacht or your new vacation home with your family, or now you're probably doing this big wedding to get married, whatever the case is. Whatever, we all have different goals, we all have different things that move us, right? What moves me doesn't move you. What my money goal is not going to be the same goal as you. It might be lower, it might be higher. We're not going to all have the same exact goals, right? But one thing we do have one thing we do have in common, and I will say, is that we want to make money, right? I'm here to make money, bro. I don't care anything else. I'm here to freaking make money, man. And for the people that say that they're not here to make money, I don't trust those people. I'm very cautious when someone says they're not here to make money in this space, because I'm here to make money, bro. I'm not here to mess around, join these Telegram groups, these Discord groups, stroke each other off. Like, I'm here to make money, bro. I'm here to look and find motivated individuals like myself with a very similar mindset. We might not think the same, we might not like the same things, we might not be motivated by the same things, but we have one thing in common, and we're here to make money. And that's the kind of people that I'm wanting to connect with and I'm wanting to relate with. I want people that are here to make life-changing opportunities, make life-changing money, and are here to learn and grow as a person mentally, spiritually, physically, and financially, right? In every way possible. That's what I'm here for. I'm here to do that. I'm here to reap all kinds of rewards in every area of my life. And I hope you are as well, because you do not want to be a multi-millionaire, billionaire that's freaking in bad conditions in health and can't enjoy your money. You don't want to be that person that can enjoy, getting in out of their supercar, their exotic car, their Ferrari, whatever the case is. I've heard, multiple things of mentors saying you don't want to be that person who's like 90 years old getting out of your freaking Ferrari in a cane, bro. Like, there's nothing wrong. I'm not going against people, but like, to me personally, bro, like, I want to be young enjoying that. You know what I mean? I want to be able to move, be able to do that with my family, be able to enjoy that time in my age. You know what I mean? Not just this age. I'm talking about as I get older, right? But like, by the time I'm 70, bro, like, I don't want to be in a freaking Ferrari by 70. I want to do that right now. I want to do that in the next couple years. That's the time I want to enjoy that, right? So you have to also keep that in mind. Health is also, as people say, health is wealth, but it really is, man. You can make a lot of money, but if you're not in a good condition when it comes to health, you're not going to be able to spend that time, enjoy that time with the family, enjoy the time that you enjoy doing things, because you're not prioritizing your health either, right? So you have to have, and that's what people don't understand when it comes to trading. You have to have all these areas in your life helping you, man, if that makes any sense. You want to be eating good, you want to be working out, you want to be going for walks, runs, doing physical activity as well. Because if you're not, and I'm telling you from experience, if you're not, you're going to be so out of shape, and that has to do a lot with the way you obtain information, the way you trade. If you're not physically doing well in your body, going to the gym, going for walks, runs, whatever the case is, mentally you're not going to be able to take any of this with trading. You're not. You have to take it just like as if you were in some sort of boot camp for sports. If you're preparing to be an NBA player, an NFL player, a boxer, you have to literally train that same way. They train with, eating a certain way, working out a certain way, making sure, they get a certain amount of sleep, which is one thing I'm kind of bad at, I'm gonna be honest. And which is what I'm working on right now. I'm working on, having better sleeping habits. I have this tendency to not sleep a lot, but work a lot, be up a lot. That's just me, right? And that's something I know I have to be aware of, and that's what I'm telling you. You have to train this the same way as if you were going to be a NFL player, right? You're going to be eating the right amount of food, right amount of protein, carbs. You're going to be hydrating pretty well. You're going to be sleeping well, right? And they're going to perform their best. And this is the same thing when it comes to trading. You want to keep it the same way. Now, if you're not a trader, that's okay. If you're an investor, I think you still should consider your health, right? I'm not here to go ahead and tell you all of this, but I'm just here to tell you the reality of the truth, that this all has relation for your mental health when it comes to trading, because you will go crazy. I'm telling you. I can guarantee you, if you haven't had a crazy freaking mental moment in your life yet in this crypto market, dude, keep on doing what you're doing to not get to that level. But once you reach that level, you'll lose your mind, trust me. And many people do. When you go on Twitter, you're going to see people just lose their mind. When they start losing money, they start going freaking crazy, and they disappeared, man. And it's very, very common. It's a very, very common thing. And it's a very hard thing to go through. That's what I'm telling you. This is not for everybody. Some people are going to come. Some people are going to go. They're going to be out of this market, and they're not going to be taking advantage of this. So you have to stay neutral in every level of your life: health, wealth, love, and happiness. Right? Those are the things that I've learned from my mentors, and I neglected a lot of these things because I was mostly focused on the money, and I let go of a lot of other areas in my life. And I could tell you that it really affected my trading. Now that I'm at this whole different level where I'm acknowledging all these other pillars in my life, I'm trying to take care of my health. I'm working towards my wealth, which is this, right? Building my wealth. Love, always, being in a state of mind where you are healthy and you love yourself enough, right, for other people to come in and love you. I know this is probably a little personal, but this is what has to be said, right? Because if you don't work on this, you're never going to succeed in not just trading, but in anything in your life. And that's just the way things are. I didn't make this. Like I said, you could be successful in a lot of these areas without hitting all of them. I've done it multiple times. I've made a lot of money multiple times, but I never had these other areas in my life aligned. And I come back to the same thing over and over again. And I ask myself, why do I come back to this stage in my life when I've made money so many freaking times? Why? And I go back to that, and I always remember my health was never there, man. I've made money, but mentally I was never in the right in the right spot. I wasn't with the right people. Mentally, I wasn't there. Physically, I wasn't there. You know, being overweight, whatever the case is, dude, this has a relation to what you're going to do when it comes to trading, whenever it comes to business as well. So you have to prioritize having those things. And literally, when it comes to trading and investing, treat this as if you were going to the NFL, to the NBA. I don't know why people take trading so lightly. They paint you this picture that is this great thing where you print money out of thin air and you make all this money and travel. But the only successful traders know what I'm talking about when I talk about this. The ones that, you know, just do it through luck and do it through other means, through dumping on their community. A lot of these influencers, by the way, dumping on their community, selling you hopes and dreams that are probably never going to happen because they're doing their money another way. They're not doing it through trading. They're doing it because they're probably dumping their tokens on you. You know, and that's what a lot of these influencers won't tell you. And that's what you have to be aware of. So once you start looking at how the market moves, a lot of these things are going to be unlocking for you. Like what's going on right now with Brett and the whole entire FUD. Dude, tell me something I did not already know. I knew since last bull run, I got wrecked by a lot of these influencers. BitBoy being one of them. He's a cool guy. I wouldn't like, I've lost a decent amount with that guy, but I wouldn't go ahead and start a fight with him. He seems like a pretty cool guy, you know, probably, you know, get a drink or something. But would I ever take trading or any kind of crypto advice from him? No, because he dumps on his community, bro. It's clear. If you don't see it, you know, this channel's not for you, man. If you don't understand what I'm telling you. And if you're now going into the stage where you're opening up your eyes and you're realizing this thing has been going on for years. It has been going on with influencers. It has been going on with VCs. It has been going on with a lot of things in the market that are hidden, but they're not really hidden too well. If you really take your time and look at what I'm telling you, you're going to be able to see through all of this of what I'm telling you. And you're going to be able to predict your place a little better compared to others. But if you're seeing that FUD going on with Brett, dude, that has been going on in the space for years, man. Influencers dumping in their communities is a very common thing, man. Very, very common. So, yeah. Well, we're going to go ahead and see what other comments we have. Probably base. How's it going, Chicago? Hope you're having a good one. Do you like Boshi? We talked about Boshi. Let's look at Boshi real quick. So Boshi, I talked about Boshi. I mentioned that Boshi looked pretty cool. But to me personally, these are at some very high risky areas. Let me take out the log. Okay, actually we're good. I take that back. So right now with Boshi, what I would be looking at is I would be looking at this range right here, which is going to be sub, I think almost 2 million if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, it's going to be about like 4 million. So it looks like Boshi is doing pretty well. We see over 98,000 in 24-hour volume, 1,074,000 holder count. I was actually looking at this area. I think you mentioned Boshi back on the 24th, if I'm not mistaken, or a few days ago. So Boshi so far is holding this area of support, which is a good sign. Now, for me to feel a little bit more comfortable on this trade is I want to see multiple things, and I'm going to go ahead and tell you this right now, right? So listen very closely for all those that are tuning in, and then get a chance to see how I analyze a lot of these projects, right? But with Boshi, what I'm going to be looking at is we're going to start off always with the website, right? I already know, I kind of already talked about it. I said it was pretty cool. I don't know how strong the narrative is going to be. We'll check it out. But Boshi sounds pretty cool. Sounds memeable. I'm assuming Boshi's for blue Yoshi, and for base Yoshi. So seems like a pretty good name that people will catch on to, right? So that's a checklist that checks. Market cap, it's not too bad. Is at 1 million. Liquidity is not too bad. That checks as well. Supply is pretty good. It's at 985 million. And this is what a lot of people ignore all the time. So always keep an eye on what supply is. The supply looks solid. 24-hour volume is not too bad, $98,000. Now, I want to look into, is there enough buying pressure coming in? So I like to check back over here in the bottom On the 5-minute chart, we see we've had 4 buys and 1 sell. On the 1 hour, we see 8 buys, 4 sells. 6 hours, we see 44 buys, 31 sells, and 24 hours, we see 140 to 129 sells. So it looks like slightly a little bit of more buying pressure is coming in, which is a good sign. It hasn't been a full-on confirmation that buying pressure is there, but it definitely does give me an indicator that it is growing. And the way I'm analyzing this is based on this green candle right here. The way this candle is made when it starts shooting up like this, like crazy, it tells you there's some buying pressure, some buying interest coming in. As you can see, these green candles right here started slightly picking up, and this is where you started seeing Yoshi pop. And then when you started seeing that selling pressure, you started seeing Yoshi dump. When you started seeing that green buying pressure again, you saw Yoshi come back over here. So it looks like this area could be a new area of support at around the 1.3 million market cap, which is a good sign. And what I'm going to be looking at carefully with Yoshi, because I'm still very neutral, as I mentioned, right? And I mentioned this stance a while back, that I've been very neutral with the Yoshi. Where I'm going to be considering opening a trade for Yoshi is if I see Yoshi break past this 4 million market cap, which should be around the corner, right? It should be coming around in the next coming days. We'll see Yoshi probably do a 2x, right? And I want to see how high Yoshi is going to pump. It could do a 2x. It could do a 10x. It could do a 12x. It just depends on how high this market pushes it and how quickly it reverses, right? As soon as I see this breakout candle happening, if I can't catch it in between this, I would consider probably entering a trade within this range right here. Yes, I'm kind of missing out on profits, but I'm also minimizing my risk, right? But if I do miss this run up, because usually when run ups like this happen, they happen very quickly, right? If it does happen, what I'll be waiting for is waiting for a retracement. It's going to happen 80%, man. It's probably going to retrace 80%, and it's probably going to come back down to this level right here. So this is where I would probably consider, if I don't have the chance to catch this trade right here, I'm going to definitely catch it when it retraces for the second time. And that's going to give me more confirmation if, one, people are interested in Yoshi, two, if holders are new holders are coming in, because you need new holders to really push this chart. And we're going to be looking at volume, right? So those are little indicators you always want to keep in mind. That is solely on the daily. Looking at the smaller time frames on the 4-hourly, we do see that this area of support has been held pretty good so far, and this has been previously an area of resistance, right? So far it's looking good that it has been holding this range. As you see, every time it holds this range, every time it breaks past this area, there's a lot of strong resistance within this range, right? But every time it breaks above it, you see a nice little run up. As you see right here, it got rejected, dumped, found support, and it ran back up again. So this is now, this once resistance, it took multiple tries to break through it, which now became our new area of support, meaning this is where our new floor is. So this is our new floor. That means that this is going to be our resistance. So the sooner we break through this is going to be a very bullish sign and indicator that there is enough buying pressure and momentum and belief in this token going higher, right? But, and this is where we got to keep in mind, if we can't break past this right here, we can't break past this, that means there isn't enough buying pressure and there isn't enough interest, and Blue Yoshi will dump, and it will break down everything that I worked really hard for. So that's what I'm saying. This is a risk you could go ahead and be willing to take right now. It just depends on what you're willing to, your risk level, what you want, and what you believe. For me, I don't know if this is going to be a real narrative. We are still at very critical areas. We still could get rejected right here and literally dump, and we lose everything we worked very, very hard for as far as movement, right? So what I would like to see on Boshi is I would want to see it go towards 4 million market cap first. And depending on how the 4 million market cap area it's reacting, if it holds this area right here, and I see buying pressure coming in, I will consider buying in and then riding the wave to 12 to 20 million plus market cap. But for me, because I already took the risk early on with Andy and Benny, Boshi to me just doesn't excite me too much. The meme just doesn't excite me. It's not a narrative that I could say, 100% this is where it's going to go. Nothing's guaranteed, but there's going to be some narratives that have a stronger narrative than others, right? And I could be wrong with Boshi, but I mentioned I won't be making a decision until I see it break to this 4 million market cap, because at this range right here, I have a high level of risk as opposed to a high reward, right? Because if I entered at Yoshi right here, then I have no problem holding on to this trade. But if I'm holding on to this trade right here in very critical areas where it could really dump and I could lose a lot of money, I would rather be patient, wait for this thing to break out, maybe miss on the initial pump, but I could guarantee you it's going to retrace back down to these levels, and then it's going to be a lot safer, and now you could go in with a bigger bag, right? So for me, I'll be waiting for that on Boshi. Tillery, I learned a lot from you. I appreciate you, Tillery, man. We definitely have to catch up, man. It's been a long time since we talked. But yeah, so that's my take on Boshi. Like I said, don't be like, I don't want any of you guys to follow my lead when it comes to these tokens. I want you to learn how to make your own decision. I'm here to teach you that, right? I'm not here for you to like do everything that I'm saying, because I might be wrong, and I'm okay with that. I'm okay with being wrong, right? I'm not here to be right 100% of the time. The goal is to be right as many times as possible, but there's nothing wrong with being wrong as well, right? So whatever your belief is, if you believe Boshi is the next Pepe, then stick to it, man. That's all I can say. But from a personal opinion, I'm always going to give you what I personally believe in. And even if it's a play that I'm in and it's going against where I want to see it go, I'm going to tell you. See, Brett 2.0, somebody called this one out too on the channel, and I mentioned this. And I said, I'm going to go ahead and wait and see how this is doing. I completely forgot about it. And look, it's about 49%. So I was part of Pepe 2.0. And so were a lot of you, right? The ones that are still following me from my old channel, a lot of you were exposed to Pepe 2.0. So this is a no-brainer, the 2.0 era. So am I going to FOMO into Brett right here? No, but I am seeing a lot of very bullish signs, right? We're seeing that massive candlestick right here. We're seeing a 206 on a 24-hour volume on a 1.70 million market cap. Supply is quite low. Holder count's okay. We're slightly seeing a little bit of buying pressure. Nothing too crazy to, get excited for, in my opinion. But I will consider entering a Brett 2.0 once it hits that 5-10 million market cap and retraces. It's the same thing, guys. I'm literally just patiently waiting because I'm minimizing my risk. I'm not willing to lose what I worked hard for on these last couple of days on my trades, to lose it all on just one trade, right? So I'm trying to minimize my risk to these. So that's something I would suggest a lot of you to do. You might hit it big in the beginning, but you could also go ahead and get super, super wrecked. And I know this is very, very, very repetitive to what I'm saying, but this is just something we have to be aware of constantly of the market, because it changes very quickly, right? As we see, Pepe on base is down about 15%. So we're going to see if this area is going to hold pretty well. And if not, we could see Andy come back down to the zone, which is not going to look too good. I'm going to be honest with you. We're seeing a little bit of buying pressure, selling pressure these last 2 days. But you also have to keep in mind, we had a nice little run up of about a 1x. So this is normal for it to happen. You always want to see when tokens just pump, retrace, and then find a healthy retracement and then gear back up, right? Andy could go ahead and dump back down to this POC level, and then it could moon. Or maybe it loses this area right here and it dumps and it's done. I don't think that's going to be the case, but it's possible. And that's what you have to keep in mind. Everything is freaking possible. With that being said, I hope all of you enjoyed today's live stream, and I will go ahead and catch all of you onto the next one.